redefine your recruitment strategy and start thinking a little bit more like a marketer. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you to understand a different way of perceiving the recruitment challenge and looking at it from the problem solution framework. And we're going to go through how a marketer might look at this, how other people from other industries may look at this challenge and how they would look at this problem and what they may do to solve it. So stick with me on this one because I think this is going to be a fantastic episode for anyone who is in the healthcare field and wants to hire in the next 1 to 3 years, which is everyone. So without further ado, let's jump into it, my friends. And I'm going to jump on the iPad and just share screen so that we can go through a few key things here. And I can help you to understand visually what I mean as well, because I can ramble a little bit too much at times as I'm doing right now. While I'm doing this, please like and subscribe. It helps us to reach more people and it would mean the world to us. Okay, so now you're looking at my iPad screen and what we're going to go through on here to start with is the old way of marketing. Now, when I say the old way of marketing, this still works. So it still can work for you, but let's map out what this looks like so we can compare it to this new structure that I'd like you to learn. Now, in the old way, typically what we would do, and this is the most common thing, is we would jump on Seek. So if I jump here and I write Seek, and we write an ad, and people go to Seek, so audience goes to Seek, right? And we're hoping that Seek spits out a few applications to our role, and then we hope from here we get a few interviews. And from this, we hope to get a new team member. And that is the process that we would go through. And the problem with this is that at different stages here, we lose a bit of control and we start putting things out and there's an element of hope in there and the strategy can fall down in a few different places because of a few challenging things that may happen in the environment, in the macroeconomical environment. So consider this, right? If on Seek, we have an increase in competition. So the number of jobs on Seek double. Realistically, we're looking at the number of applications we get would, if this was times 2, this is likely to divide by 2. Hope you can see where we're going with this now. Combine that with people maybe feeling a little bit uncertain due to what's happening in the environment economically with COVID and coming out of COVID and then talk of a recession. There's a lot of fear around. What you might find as well is less people are willing to move roles in this time. And so we actually have a decrease in the audience or the amount of people that are going to seek to look for these new roles. That is going to equal a decrease in interviews and it's going to make it harder to get team members. And this is what we're hearing across the board is this is playing out for so many people. And a lot of people feel out of control because at the audience level, they're not in control of that. They feel like they have no control at all. And on Seek, you really don't, unfortunately. They also feel like they have no control over the fact that there's twice as many jobs on Seek. And that's true. So these two key areas that are important that happen or have to happen before we get to the application phase here, they're out of our control. And then when we're on Seek, what are we competing on? We're competing on our ability to wordsmith. We're competing on our ability to have the slightly prettiest Seek ad where you can have a little logo in and maybe a video in if they click into it. So you got a headline to really grab attention. And you want to grab attention, but at the same time, you don't want to be too salesy and put up some stupidly large fee that you'll be paying people, salary that you'll be paying people. So it gets really hard to actually get people onto your application. And I was on Seek just the other day. I was looking at OT, speech, psychology, and physiotherapy. And there are some people in there offering $100,000 to $120,000 a year for a new grad in a mobile NDIS role. Right? So it's hard to compete sometimes on the salary as well because people are being offered large sums of money to go and work in different types of businesses as well. So that is the challenge. That is the current model that we're working with. And I think, honestly, it's broken. It's not working well at the moment for us. Some people are hiring on Seek, but the vast majority are finding that they're just throwing money down the drain. So let's try and flip that for a bit, because what we want to do, let's go like this. What we want to do is try and control each of these areas a little bit more ourselves. And if we can do that, we're going to be more in control of the end result, which is how many team members do we get? So let's think of audience. If we go audience, we want to be advertising on a platform where we actually start to control the audience. So we can think here of social media ads. So we have more control over that because we can increase or decrease our reach based on how much we spend. It doesn't work like that on Seek. Now, the idea here and the thing I would like you to consider is in the short term, it is going to be hard to hire because there's friction. If people are going to leave a job, and this is where the problem solution framework comes in, there's going to be friction. There has to be a reason for them to leave their role. And when we look at why people make decisions, they make a decision because it solves a problem for them. And you might go, well, why do people buy stupid, expensive things? It doesn't solve any problem, Peter. It solves a problem of status to them. Right? Why would someone move from a role that they currently enjoy into one that could help them more financially? There's no technical problem with what they're doing. They enjoy what they're doing. But if this role pays an extra $30,000 here, it could actually create a problem where they go, I'm on 70,000 and this is 100,000. It actually now creates that problem of, well, should I be on 100,000? So you can start to see that it's created a problem by putting itself out there like that. And then it solves the problem by you going and working there. So we want to start to think, what are the problems? Because this is how we build an audience, is we solve a problem. Well, that's hard to spell. There we go. Solve a problem. So in this process, the first thing you should do is actually jump out and go, right, what are the problems or the frustrations, as I would like to say, in your market? So step one, go and find out what those frustrations are for people who would be your ideal hires. If you can talk to 3, 4, 5, even 10 people who you may know, maybe through your time at uni, maybe through your own team, but talk to people and ask them, what are your frustrations about your role as a speech pathologist, an OT, a physiotherapist? And you might find that frustration may be late nights, so working till 7. It could be not enough pay. Could be having to work Saturdays. These are all things that I have heard before. It could be Saturdays. It could be no flexibility. It could be they were promised lots of mentoring and they didn't get it. It's a common one. So we can find out what these problems are. And then we go, well, how do we solve this problem for them in a nice, easy to consume piece of content? So I hope you can follow me here. So we've got these. And what we want to do is we want to create some kind of lead magnet. So imagine we got a lead magnet. And what is a good lead magnet? A good lead magnet is something that solves a real problem. Too slow at typing. Solves a real problem for your ideal client. Beautiful. In seconds, minutes, or hours. Right? It's short. Dopamine. It's a TikTok solution. Seconds, minutes, hours. And we want to decrease risk and increase reward. Super key. Super key. So a good lead magnet here, if we look at this, it solves a real problem for your ideal client. It does it very fast, seconds, minutes, hours, and it has a low risk and a high reward. So imagine for a second, if we're going to send something out via social media ads to an audience, and the audience is, we'll use speech pathology, very hard to hire a speechy at the moment. And speechies may go, I'm not getting paid enough. Don't like working Saturdays. There's no flexibility in my role. I was promised all this mentoring and I haven't actually received it. that could be the key things that they're struggling with. And so your lead magnet could be around how to solve one or two of those problems really quickly. So it could be around how to have a conversation about pay with your employer, right? And the only thing that they need to swap to get that is, say, their email, name, and phone number. So there's relatively low risk, relatively high reward. You could maybe, from doing this, on average, people get a 5% pay rise. Or this is how you would plan the next 3 years to achieve your financial goals. So there's a high reward there. And you have to make sure that people can actually achieve that reward with what you give them, because trust is everything here, right? So lower the risk, increase the reward. If you ask them for, they had to catch up with you for a coffee in order to get that, that's now more risk, because they feel like, I've got to go see this person, got to have a conversation. There's more perceived risk. So we want to decrease the risk as much as possible. We just want a few key details, and this is the reward you'll get. And that's how we convince people that this is a fantastic thing that solves the problem, low risk. And from there, we can actually start to build trust. So I'm just going to rub this out now. So that's what we start with. We start with building an audience by solving a problem with a lead magnet and using social media ads to get that. So what we do is use social media ads. We use the lead conversion events on Facebook Ads Manager. That's how we get people's details. And then from there, we now put people on an email list. And this is the next key, because this is where we build trust. Now, you may have seen me draw this before, but imagine this. This is when people come onto your database, when they hear about you for the first time. Now, this is a 1 and this is a 10. And 1, this is the trust scale, by the way, this is trust. So 1 means they don't trust you heaps yet. They've just met you. They just heard about you. Of course, they don't trust you enough to leave their current role and want to come work for you. And 10 is they're like, absolutely, I'm keen. Get me into this. I want to work with these guys. They're amazing. I love what they do. I love what they're about. So you can see that when you start, if you put a line here, there's not many people down in this area to the right. There's not many people down there. So even if we zoom in, there's still not many people. So what we want to do is over time, move people from a 1 to a 2. From a 2 to a 3, from a 3 to a 4, 4 to a 5, and so on, until we get them to the 8, 9, 10, where they now trust and like us enough to want to come and work with us. And this is the long-term strategy. This is the thing that most people aren't doing, because, lo and behold, it's hard. It takes a bit of time. It's not easy, but it's often the things that are hard and that aren't easy, the right things to be doing. So what do? We get them on an email list and we nurture them over time. So if we go like this and we say nurture. Now the word for nurture is build trust. 2 words actually. Build trust. And think of it this way. Every time you send an email, and I would have a once a week or once a fortnight email that I'm sending out that is adding genuine value to the people that are on that list. And every time you're writing that email, ask yourself, am I earning the right to send this email? Because if you, and I literally, when I send out emails for Clinic Mastery, I have that written on the top of the page the document that I use. It says, earn the right to send this email. And I'm always asking myself that question. Am I putting enough value in this that I'd be happy to send this to someone's inbox for them to open it and them to read and decide whether or not they want to stay subscribed to our list? And if you have that mindset when you're creating these emails, the value you're going to provide is amazing. And people will move from that 1 to a 10. They will trust you. They will want to come and work with you because you build that brand in the community, because you solve problems, and because you're someone who puts yourself out there and helps people to educate people. When we think of marketing, people think of marketing as a slimy salesperson. Reframe that. Marketing is just education. And the more you can educate people about what you do, about how you do it, about how you can help them, how you can solve their problems, the more people that are going to want to work with you. So we nurture, we build the list, And over time, this will then have a call to action, CTA. And that is, hey, we have a job opening. We have one job opening. We're taking applications now. And if we've done this part of it effectively, and we've nurtured and we've built trust over time, and we've solved real problems for people, then when it comes time to ask, people will want to work with you. People will say, hey, absolutely, when can I start? Right? And then that goes to interviews. Oops. And then team member. And yes, I spelled team wrong. Team member. It's meant to be an M there. So you can see the slight difference here. Instead of having no control over the audience, in this example, we control how we grow the audience. And instead of it being dependent on how many jobs are out there on Seek, for us, it's dependent on how valuable our lead magnet is with our lead conversions. So we control that again. And then we're getting people onto an email list. And then on that email list, we're nurturing them and building trust. And we control that as well. So we have so much more control here. And then when it comes time for a call to action, we control that. And we're sending this directly into people's inboxes. So they're getting it directly to their inbox. You can send them a text and say, hey, check your inbox. We've just sent you an amazing opportunity that's come up, but you do have to act quickly on this one. Applications close in 3 days, 4 days, whatever it may be. But you can see here that there's two different options. And I'm not saying that the top one doesn't work. It still works. There are still people hiring through Seek. But the vast majority of people that I'm working with are finding that by implementing the bottom strategy, the people that implemented it 6 months ago are bearing the fruits from it now. And they're finding the hiring process a lot easier. And it just makes a whole lot of sense. And so this is what I think people should be working on when it comes to the recruitment problem that we're all trying to solve right now. Because solving this problem in 2023 and 2024, and probably beyond, is going to be the key difference between those clinics that are really successful and those that struggle a little bit more. And when you look at this, you might go that, hey, this could take 6 or 12 months to be really effective. But if you don't start now, in 6 to 12 months, you're going to look back and wish that you did. So how can you start now? How can you start controlling your flow of audience? How can you start controlling the amount of people that you're in contact with, the amount of emails you have of potential hires? How can you control how they perceive you in the community? Because just posting on social media may reach a few people, but once you have them on an email list and you're nurturing that over time, you're building trust and you're adding genuine value, that is where the real magic happens, my friends. So look, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you could leave a like on it, leave us a comment, let us know what you think of this. Disagree, not everyone's going to agree on this one. There's many different ways to achieve the same goal here. I'm sharing with you something that I found has been working really well over the past 6 to 12 months now. I hope you got some value out of today's video, and I will see you in the next lesson, my friends.